The stock market has seen its worst day in years. The Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P fell significantly. And when you look up stock market news, you're going to see headlines like this: Trump tariffs wipe out 2 trillion from the US market. This is all related to the tariffs, the market chaos that has developed after Liberation Day. So the Trump administration announced these steep tariffs on China, Taiwan, and even some goods from India and Vietnam. These tariffs are as high as 54% on certain goods like electronics and car parts. So here's a look at the list of countries and the percentages of the reciprocal tariffs that are being put into place. Apple is one of the hardest hit companies because 90 to 95% of its products are made in China. But overall, tech stocks are getting crushed. The market ended the day with the S&P down 4.84%, the Nasdaq down 5.98%, and the Dow down almost 4%. We're going to take a look at those Mag 7 stocks to see how badly they're all feeling the pain of these tariffs. So these are those Mag 7 stocks that I'm referring to. So why should we care about these tariffs and what's going on with these big name companies? This is going to lead to higher prices on our everyday goods, including phones, laptops, even car, as well as car parts, and many of our regular everyday items that we need. So this creates uncertainty in the market, which investors hate. So now let's take a look at the performance of those Mag 7 stocks on the day. First up, Apple down 9.25%, $20.70 today. Apple is down because of its heavy dependence on Chinese manufacturing. Back in 2019, they got a waiver on tariffs, but there's no sign of that happening this time around. Moving manufacturing to India or Vietnam was supposed to help, but those countries are also under this new administration and the tariffs that are being put in place, facing tariffs of 27 to 46%. So, what does this mean for Apple? They might have to raise prices or take a hit to their profits. So, this is one of those big name tech stocks that is being hit hard by this tariff news. Now, look at Tesla on the day down 5.47%. So, in addition to the tariffs, Tesla just announced its first quarter vehicle delivery numbers and they were not good. So, this also led to a decline in the stock price. Their deliveries are down 13% from Q1 of 2024 and over 20% from Q1 of 2023. So it's just so much going on related to Tesla. And investors are also worried about Elon Musk's political distractions and affiliations. So they have several strikes against them, but there also is some good. Tesla is expected to launch a cheaper model, and their robo-taxi service is coming out later this year, which could really help the company. We're also still waiting to see what the future will hold when it comes to those robots, and their earnings are coming up on April 22nd. So we'll be getting more details, all of the details as to their quarterly performance. Okay, so now let's continue with these Mag 7 stocks on the day. Onto Microsoft, down 2.36%, doing better than some others, still having strong AI growth to help hold it up, and as seen as a long-term winner. But across the board, all of these big names are feeling the pain. Nvidia down 7.81% at about $102. Their AI and data center demands remain strong, and this is a dip that I will be taking advantage of in order to continue building out my position. Amazon down 8.98%. It's had its biggest drop since 2020. There are major concerns about the high import costs, which will lead to decreased profits for the company, but it's still a dominant e-commerce and cloud leader, feeling the short-term pain, just like all of the other big name tech stocks we're looking at. Down 4.02%. holding up a little better than some of the others. Their ad revenue is still growing, and AI investments make this a long term hold. This is another stock that I've been working on building up in my portfolio. And just not so long ago, I was glad to get it at $180. And now it's all the way down to 150. But long-term investors see the potential and the advantage of being able to buy these stocks low and hold. And now Meta down 8.96% on the day. When I looked at this one earlier today, it was doing better than Apple and Tesla, but it continued to fall after midday. Current stock price $531.62. Now, let's talk a little bit about VTI, the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. These are the top 10 holdings right here: Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, Google, Berkshire Hathaway, Broadcom, Tesla. So we cover that whole Mag 7 and a couple others here. I just gave an update yesterday and we were at about $277. But today it's down another 5.03%. Stock price 263.96. So we are all feeling the pain when we look at our portfolio, whether it's ETFs or our individual stocks, if we have exposure to these big name companies that I've been going through. I happen to have all of them in my portfolio, as well as VTI and investments that give me exposure to the S&P 500. But I've been investing for several years now, and I'm not in the red on the day, but I definitely see my overall portfolio down. So, what I do is not a suggestion for what you should do. I'm here sharing my journey. You have to decide what you want to buy, hold, and sell long term. But what I'm doing is not panic selling. I understand that this is part of investing. All of these things that are going on related to tariffs are new to my experience as an investor, but so was COVID. And in time, the market recovered. They say the best opportunities come when fear is high. So I'll be focusing on the companies that show strength, the ETFs that give me that diversification, the same fundamentals that I relied on before adding them into my portfolio. But before I keep going, I forgot the update on Meta. Their earnings are coming up this month also on April 30th. So Meta fell, and this is probably highly due to their dependence on ad revenue. They're at risk because businesses are potentially going to be cutting their marketing budgets. They rely heavily on Chinese advertisers targeting US customers, and less ad revenue from Meta will impact the stock price and revenue for the company. This is going to be the same when it comes to Amazon. They're another one that is heavily reliant on Chinese advertisers. But across the board, big companies, as well as us as individuals, are going to be evaluating our budgets, our discretionary spending, because we are going to be impacted and have to weather this storm. As I'm always sharing, I'm just here on my journey to invest and build wealth for myself and my family. In my personal experience, every time I think back, I look back to the investing that I've done over the last few years, I always wish that I invested more at times like this. I plan on staying calm, sticking to my plan. The markets are reacting horribly, but we've been through market volatility before. It's not the first time and will not be the last. But I'm going to continue investing while the market is down, focusing on my foundational investments in order to provide stability to my portfolio. This has been very unexpected. The tariffs are more extensive than expected. The overall goal, from what I understand, is to get manufacturing and jobs and revenue for our country, but this doesn't happen overnight. We have no power over what's going on, but these tariffs are causing a lot of chaos on the market, as well as just our everyday lives when it starts to trickle down to all of our costs that are going to be impacted. whether it's all these high percentages that are going to be imposed related to the tariffs in all of the different countries, or if the focus on getting the manufacturing done here in the US gets put into place, our costs are going to be affected. They are going to go up drastically from the looks of things because there's a reason why we import so many things from abroad, the cheaper labor and manufacturing costs. So if it's manufactured here, it's going to have a higher price tag. But we made it through another day. I'm going to continue to share my journey, keep you updated on what's going on. I'm going to stay calm and stick to my plan, focus on investing into those ETFs and the same positions that I've been working on for some time now. So if you're not already, subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with all of my videos and live streams. Let's continue to stay informed, learn, earn, save, invest, and be on this journey to build wealth together. Okay, bye.